Welcome to another stunning episode of the greatest music ever created and how it ruined our lives, with special guest vocalists
I said no. Hey, hi, Eric Braverman here. My friends call me EB, and you should probably call me Seshla, the Wind Drifter. I guess you can call me a storyteller, and the story I'd like to tell today is about an iconic singer who's so great and successful and decent person, unlike most of the people we meet in this industry, that I thought maybe I could learn to sing. I'm inspired to sing like Joe Elliott. So I went to Craigslist. There's hundreds of bands auditioning vocalists, so I picked one out that had a cool name, Dirty Harry, H-A-I-R-Y, Dirty Harry of El Paso, Texas. So I'm going to go be like Joe, come along. I'm sure I'll be able to get into a band if they need a singer. We're going to rock it. Hi.
How are you?
Hi, how you guys doing? Eric Braverman?
Good, we're practicing.
I understand. I just flew in here. Wait, I'm just here to El Paso for the night. I was on Craigslist looking for a band to audition for vocalist. Found your ad here for Dirty Harry looking for vocalist, so I'm here to audition.
That was years ago, dude. What's wrong with you?
They've got a singer. Did you not realize that when you were walking
We got
in?
a singer right here.
Yeah, but I thought if they were
Is there a singer?
auditioning, they didn't like you.
That's old.
So I'm just like
That's old.
I've been hanging out with Joe Elliott, and I think that I'm inspired now. I think I could sing. Now that I've been around him, he's cool with it. And right here, so 2009, I thought that was part of the address. I was dropped off here.
It's time to get
Can
picked up.
I go ahead and audition?
You gotta go.
Hey, I can see. I play this. Let's do it. Give me a chance. What? Come on, guy. 1, 2, hit
That
it.
belongs to the mariachi band from earlier.
Hit it. Mr. Elliott.
Call me Joe. I hate Mr. Elliott. It sounds very formal. Sounds like a bank manager.
What about Joseph?
That's what my mother calls me. Oh no, only when she's angry with me.
What's Joe in Spanish, Jose?
Jose.
I like that.
Yeah. Jose is what
All right,
people
Jose.
call me when they don't like me.
Oh my God.
Amongst
all right.
other words
Then
that I
we'll go
can't
back to
pronounce.
Joe. We'll go back to Joe.
Joe's good.
I read a quote in the internet, one of those internet quotes that might not have been so accurate, but you were saying, the British press doesn't respect Def Leppard and bands like you enough, whether they're between Bon Jovi or Lemmy, and my show's like the greatest music ever, and I'm trying to explain to to people, why is it so maligned? Why are the bands that are considered hard rock, heavy metal?
You'd have to ask those journalists.
But you have to know. You know
I don't
better
know.
than anyone.
I don't.
If I can't ask you,
I mentioned it in passing in an interview, and it would be got picked up as such a soundbite that it's like something.
It's funny.
It sounds like I'm defending it all the time, and it's like, if something bothered me, I'd actually have the PR people say, "Don't ask him that question." So I've no problem talking about it, and then that gets misconstrued into people thinking he's going on a bit. It's like I'm not. I just get asked about it, so I'm not going to turn around to you and say I'm not answering that question.
Okay, check this
but
out.
here's the no. Let me finish. Let's, as Margaret Thatcher would say, let me finish. The thing is, my point was, and again, it's an observation, not anything that I lose sleep over, that the way that this is how it works. When they think that they're not getting enough advertising in this month, the magazine's not going to sell as many copies as they think they'd like to do, they go running to the shelter of a John Lennon cover. And that's what they do. They're not going to put like the new Bon Jovi album or the new Def Leppard thing as a feature in one of their magazines because they're not interested in perpetuating the industry in that respect for the bands that are coming through. And it's not just us and John. It's well, you have to take you two out of this kind of scenario. But there's anybody from REM, any other band. In fact, there's a certain type of bands that will always get the front covers.
Yeah, but you've broken through that, I thought. Like,
No,
I see
no,
you on Jay Leno.
No.
I don't see...
No, I'm talking about the English press. I'm talking about American press.
Well,
I'm
you're
talking
in
about the
England,
English
aren't
press.
you on the TV
They
shows
put,
there?
no, there are no TV shows in England, and we haven't been on a TV show in England
All right, well then...
since 1999.
Oh, my God. Well,
You know, because, you know, the obsession with the English press is with Springsteen, R.E.M., Lennon, McCartney, which is, again, I'm valid with that one. That's at least he's still a working
it
musician.
doesn't get the respect.
But
Van
an
Halen.
Iron Maiden, a Duran Duran,
Yeah.
even a band like Duran Duran, I don't care what anybody says, they're still a working band. They've had plenty of hits, and if they put a new album out, they should be given the opportunity to explain themselves. So do Iron Maiden, so do us, but they go straight to Morrissey, who doesn't sell any records and plays in theatres, and they'll ignore all the bands that are playing bigger places because bands like us aren't considered cool, so they don't want them in their ultra cool magazines.
But Joe, I consider you to be like one.
You do. You're not editing the magazines.
I wanted to help.
Have a word with
but,
the editors.
but wait. One thing. Seriously. Check this out. Wait a minute. Listen. This is totally fucking guy. Wait, listen. Let me tell the story quick. Who
invited you?
Wait, let me get the story out.
Craigslist.
Please. Megadeth. Known Megadeth for 20 years, 25 years. Went to go interview them. Me and Josh, the director of our show here. They kick us out. They run us off because we walked into sound check. When I go see Def Leppard, they invite us to sound check and offer us some whiskey. Def Leppard, Megadeth. Did you ever think that Joe Elliott would be funner or cooler than Dave Mustaine? Huh? No personal calls. Come on! I consider you one of the people like that sells rock and roll directly. Like if I look at your catalog and I go, what are these songs about? You know, if I'm listening to Metallica, like this song's about electrocuting a guy. If I listen to your songs, they're almost like an abstract spirit of rock feeling.
We don't
know.
go into like electrocuting people.
No,
That's an area that
Lars
we've yet
Ulrich.
to go into lyrically, but
Lars.
it's always a
Like
possibility.
every time you do anything, make sure there's an emphasis that rock and roll is going to be there, pushing it through.
Well, you know, then
We're undefeated.
yeah, okay, yes, we do simplistic anthemic rock and roll. The kind of stuff that inspired us was the Kinks and the Who and the Small Faces, who then went on to inspire bands like Zeppelin and Queen and AC/DC. And it's that 3-minute pop rock sensibility that's always been the mainstay of what we do. And a lot of that comes from the fact that we grew up on Top of the Pops, which is an English TV show, used to be on for 30 minutes a week, and we got to see the pop rock records that made it into the top 40. Zeppelin didn't release singles in England. Sabbath had one hit in 1970. The songs that had guitars, big crunching guitars in them, in 71 to 74 in Britain, were people like T-Rex, Bowie, Suzi Quatro, Slade, Sweet, Mott the Hoople, T-Rex. It wasn't Slayer type stuff on Metallica. It was 3-minute pop songs, which are very similar to what we do.
So that's what Rocket's about. That's what
Yeah,
Rocket's
exactly.
about.
And the fact is that they inspired us, so that's why our music sounds more like that than it sounds like full-on thrash or heavy metal.
This one song I want you guys to learn. I learned this on the Miley Cyrus show, and I think I could do my own version of it. I got gas, I got a show, and I'm ready to go. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Do you think you owe anything to the strippers of North America? For like, you know, poor. They don't do. Do they ever have a stripper show without
it's a mutual. I think there's a mutual kind of
beneficiary
situation here.
With that soundtrack.
That song brought in the punters. That got them paid, and them choosing that song to do it to got people listening to it outside of strip clubs. So yes, it spread like wildfire from Florida in 1988.
Well, I'm not Mr. Strip Club, but any strip club in the world you go into, if you're there for more than 2 rounds, they play that or another one, but it's usually that.
Well, it's just the pacing of it. It's perfect for pole
Woman,
dancing.
you can hear woman.
Mm-hmm.
Is it women or
Women.
I'm sorry.
Plural.
Women. Have you ever done any voiceover work?
Well, I DJ on Planet Rock. It's not really
I know that,
voiceover,
but I mean, you've never.
do you mean like on a cartoon?
Have anyone asked you to do a cartoon or a commercial?
No.
Like we want you to be the voice of.
I
I
did a commercial once for Virgin Airlines, but I wasn't pretending to be anybody else. It was just a conversation with me and a DJ.
Do you
I would go on The Simpsons if they asked me, but they've
Do
never
you
asked.
think you guys haven't been on there?
No.
Wow, you could call them; they would do it. Shania Twain.
Yeah.
I think has she ever thanked you for her being responsible for her career?
Well, no.
Because she wouldn't have the career she had.
But then you could argue that neither would we if it hadn't been for Mutt Lange either.
That's probably true. But I'm just saying that after that,
he was the kind of the conduit there. You
Like
know,
he
he
never-
produced us. She did have this one song that sounded like "Pour Some Sugar on Me" with fiddles on it. But you know,
so you guys were never in a room together, and you went.
we
"Hey,
also had a song which was Sugar, which didn't sound a million miles from "We'll Rock You" by Queen. It's just passing the torch. It's just that when we passed it to country, which was because, no doubt, Mutt went that direction because rock was literally dying. There was no way a band from Seattle was going to get Mutt Lange to produce one of their records. He had nowhere to go. So country was becoming the new rock back then.
That was another.
Again?
Hey, I love this. Wait, this reminds me of something. On Country Music Channel, Taylor Swift, they have a show called Crossroads, and they ask, like, what would you like? And Taylor Swift asked Def Leppard, and they did a show together. And I think, if you guys did a show with Taylor Swift. Get the f*** out of here! Seriously, here's another thing. Def Leppard is a world record holder. How many
Did you not
bands
realize we were playing?
Shut it. Let me tell this world record. This is serious. You don't have a world. Your band doesn't have a world record. Def Leppard has a world record for playing. Most shows in one day on the continent.
Deliverance.
Leave the tambourine and go.
They flew to different continents. all in one day. That was another thing that tried to kill you, was like grunge. All these different things that tried to kill you guys.
They try,
it's like,
yeah.
you're in the most
We're like
dangerous.
Frankenstein.
You are like in the most. I used to say that about Ronald Reagan. That's so funny. You are like the most dangerous band in the world. And then I noticed like that you're going to hook up with Motley Crue to do England. Is that to maybe do some getting more alcoholism?
I think giving us the tag the most dangerous band in the world is actually a very dangerous thing to say because we're the least dangerous band in the world. We've got 3 vegans, 2.
What's more dangerous than that? Vegan.
Well, it's pretty dangerous because
Veganism
it means all the meat's still alive and running around backstage.
Exactly. If they're not eating
Phil Collins hasn't drunk alcohol in 27 years. We're actually born to be mild more than born to be wild.
Yeah, but I bet before that he probably drank
We
more
do
than-
it all on stage. We just don't do it backstage. The thing, we're the one band that actually does blow the myth. Everybody that's never actually been around a rock band still lives on that myth of the Keith Richards throwing the telly out the window in
But still, when I
1971.
was a boy, I
anymore.
went to that show with the stage in the middle in Tesla, like in Cow Palace, or a couple shows around San Francisco. Because I was good friends that know Metallica a long time, and they were excited to go to the show to see like how you guys handled that fun part, the cocktails and the women and all that. And they were like, hey, they have like an apartment under the stage, like a working apartment. It just has a bathroom.
I
and
caught
there's,
a fish this big.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly, there was no bathroom, there was no apartment, there was barely any room because there was so many hydraulic machinery things like that. If you put your hand too close to them, you get your
So no pants
your
parties.
fingers torn
No
out.
pants parties during
There
the
was
show.
a few, but
Okay.
there was maybe out of 227 gigs, probably like 4. And when you do 4 and one of them gets filmed or seen by a journalist, everybody thinks it happened.
Supernatural stuff. I'm reading like that you've said we've been to more places in America than most Americans, which is true. You think about it, and I'm sure that America is one of your bread and butter countries. I'm thinking. And when you're out there, have you ever seen anything like Is there any ghosts or aliens or Bigfoot?
I got to say, that is the
Because you get to be more
strangest
people-
question I have ever been asked. That's brilliant.
But I mean, because
yeah, we partied
you live in a
with
castle,
Bigfoot, man.
You live in a castle
We-
thing in Ireland. There's always a ghost in a castle.
Oh,
building.
Jesus.
Nothing?
Yeah. I love this. Keep the myth up, man. This is great.
What myth? I'm
The
thinking
castle.
You, but I'm
I don't live in
thinking
a
you
castle. It does have turreted top, but it's certainly not
See,
a castle.
anything with
Plus,
a
it was
turret.
only built in
But a
1964.
castle could be this big. A castle could be
No,
this big.
I've never partied with Bigfoot.
Anything?
I've never seen a ghost.
Highlander, ghost,
Highlander, no,
Bigfoot,
no.
Loch
I
Ness.
saw the movie.
I mean, anything.
Queen did the
you ever?
soundtrack.
Were you ever doing it? Because you've seen so many faces. Like, how many faces have you literally seen? Like Bon Jovi.
I've seen a million faces and I've rocked them all.
You've seen
yeah.
like 20 billion. Did you ever look out and go, "That's not a person"? What the hell? Nothing like that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I've never seen anybody
That's
bring
a
a pet.
cyclops. You know, like a.
We've never had a
cyclops or
pet at one.
no
I've never seen
walrus,
anybody
no
or a
walrus.
pig's head or anything like that. You know.
So I'm thinking by the time you've done.
I mean, the thought of bringing a walrus to the gig is actually quite intriguing.
Because my next
But
thing was like, what have you?
it
When's the
needs
last
water.
time? When's the last time you were impressed? You know, 'cause I'm
By-
thinking anything. Because what
Yesterday.
besides your new
I was
child,
impressed twice yesterday. I was impressed by an album which came out 6 years ago that I heard for the very first time by a band called the Wondermints. And it's just fantastic. And I was impressed by a movie called The Room, which is by far the worst film of all time. And I was asked by Debbie, the keyboard player for Heart, watch the film all the way through for a bet. And I managed to stick to it. And it is. I was absolutely amazed. It's the worst film of all time. Watch it. It's called The Room. It's just...
we're all going home.
It's unbelievable.
We're all
that
going
was
home to
very
get on
impressive.
Netflix.
It was impressively bad.
but even-
Wondermints is a great record.
So there you go, people. You know, you can be Joe Elliott.
And it's called Do You Mind If We Make Love to You? Which is not a bad title.
If you're Joe Elliott, you don't see ghosts, you don't get to see any angels, you don't get to see any UFOs. That's it. So if Joe Elliott hasn't seen it, it's probably not really happening. Okay?
It's certainly not
Let's
in
get
my
some help.
life.
Well, because think of the travel. One day you broke the world record for doing shows in 3 different continents or countries.
Continents.
Okay, these nuts went to 3 continents in one day.
Africa, Europe, and America.
Okay, and they didn't see anything. Went to 3 continents in a day.
Oh,
and
I'm
did
sure
rock shows.
we
They
had
did rock
we had a
shows.
few hallucinations, no doubt, because we were awake for like 48 hours. But when you talk about ghosts, as in like, you know, the headless guy with the chains and all kind of
Anything.
stuff. No. I've had a few dreams. I've had weird dreams, but that's normally caused by Ambien.
How is your wife doing?
She's great.
Okay, I asked her out on a date because Debbie told me to before that. I might have been one of the last people to do that before you got together.
It's the facial hair, mate.
So
Put her
no,
off.
good for you. I'm sure good for you 'cause she's a really nice lady.
Thank you.
I think unless you have something that that you want to clear up, that people, you know, I want to clear this up and say to people.
I tell you one thing we can talk about just for a laugh is because when you said you'd been reading on the web and you picked up about the English press, the new one at the moment, my new one is that I've been calling our fans morons.
Oh, the Doritos in the basement with
and
Dungeons and Dragons.
I called a fan an idiot, not our fans, and it was down to the fact that. He'd obviously, like I said, I have this vision of a 300-pound guy wedged in a chair he can't get out of in his mom's basement, playing Dungeons and Dragons all day and occasionally going online.
With Doritos.
Never had a girlfriend
With Doritos.
and never been to a gig. Criticising us for playing the same set 4 nights running. God help him if he ever saw what Roger Waters is doing for the next 2 years.
He's
Playing
just doing
the
the
wall.
same album every night.
You know, and as Phil pointed out the other day when he did an interview, he says, look, you sooner or later you jiggle your songs around and you come up with what feels to you as collectively as a group as the perfect set. And you play it in New York. And then just because somebody goes online and posts your set, you have to change that when you go to Kansas City. So Kansas City get an inferior set just because you have to cater for people that aren't coming to the gigs anyway. So the fact of the matter is, if we packed away our audience into a truck and carried them to the next town, so we were playing the same songs and the same people, there's a valid point to their argument. But when you're playing to 10,000 people in New York and then you play to 10,000 people in Kansas, which is 10,000 totally different people, the same set doesn't make any difference.
You're the only
We're
band that
not
can do
playing
that.
for the internet. We're playing for real people in seats that have paid good money to come and see us perform songs that they like.
But you should take
End
a
of
crowd
story.
on buses to every show.
But then we would have to change the set every night.
Then real quick,
Fish used to do
real
that.
quick for them though. If you're before we run out of all our time and let you go rock the people of the world, if say you didn't really feel good tonight and you couldn't do the show, you're like, I can't do it. You're doubled over. who should I call to fly in to replace you that would be just as good for the fans?
Dan Aykroyd.
So just Dan Aykroyd come out and doing Blues Brothers numbers, or?
Yeah. Or Chevy Chase.
All right, I'm gonna go call him.
He's mental.
Sorry, dude. Gotta go, dude.
What?
Sorry, dude.
What?
Sorry, dude. Get out of here.
Fuck Dirty Harry!
Yes.
Whoa, hey, wait. And what have we learned? We learned that Joe Elliott's awesome, and he taught me so well, and I picked up so much good stuff from him. I'm in the band! Let's do it! Come on! 1, 2, 3!
The greatest music ever created, and how it ruined our lives.